Hello, how's it going, Jamie?
It's been better, I gotta be
Yeah,
honest. Not the
yeah,
greatest start to a new year.
no, not one bit. So, um, yeah, I mean, this is just kind of gonna be what it is. Normally, as we know, we'll do like our ups and downs segment, but there's not enough ups to do something like that. So we're just gonna use this as a therapeutic bitch sesh, get it out of the way, talk about the game a little bit,
Yeah,
and then just probably just call it what it is. Just one you got to chalk
and
up to
move
bad,
on,
just a
move
bad,
on.
just as I mean, as the title says, absolutely just disastrous. Um, Start to finish. Obviously, starting the game, you block the punt, you don't get anything out of it. You kick a field goal. Just letting them have that kick return touchdown right away. Turnovers,
Mhm.
with three interceptions and the fumble. Not able to get anything going in the pass game. JJ was basically eliminated by the Packers defense. I mean, obviously, Jair wasn't one-on-one with them all the time, but he was on them.
Right.
The gritty, I hated seeing Jair Alexander do the gritty, but
Fuck, man.
he backed up the talk. Injuries.
Yep.
Got to talk about injuries in this game. You had obviously Austin Schlottman out there now that it is a fractured fibula in his ankle, so he's going to be out for a while. Brian O'Neill's going to get MRI to determine the extent of his calf injury. Obviously the Raiders lost to the Niners, so the Niners moved into the 2 seed. So we're now the 3 seed. Just everything that could have gone wrong for this team did go wrong. It was an ugly ass kicking.
Yeah.
41-17. Just nothing went right. Obviously, you saw frustration. JJ almost hit a rep with his helmet. TJ Hawkinson, after a huge week last week, his hands just disappeared. I don't know what happened there. Couldn't get the run game going. It's just, man, Chris Reed just came in. Looked like he didn't. I mean, obviously the guy hasn't played much,
But
but it's
still.
just everything was just, Udo having to come in there. Everything was just, it was just not good. Never were able to get any traction. And I mean, you got to call it what it was. It's just an absolute ass kicking. And I mean, honestly, it's a disaster. Everything that happened today was a disaster from start to finish. Just, man, and of course now we got to hear it all week. The Packers and everyone already basically
All
says
until the Packers
playoffs,
are out of playoffs. Hopefully they don't make playoffs still. Hopefully the Lions go and whoop their ass next week. But all the way until the Packers are out of playoffs, we'll officially start hearing a lot about them here on out, like nonstop. Not just for this week. It's going to be through playoffs until they're eliminated. So hopefully that just happens sooner than later.
Imagine that Rodgers and Tom Brady gonna make the playoffs. Who would have thought? It's just, man,
dude, it is brutal, man. It's like it's really really nice to know that we can come back in games and win, the way we have been doing all season long. But it's really shitty to know that we can have these games, fourth one to be exact, where we get absolutely handled from start to finish, and very like some of the worst losses we've had technically in franchise history, I think.
Yeah,
and it's on the same year where we've had like the greatest comebacks in franchise history and all that stuff. And that just sucks. Like knowing you're going to playoffs, like our team can beat anyone out there. We can come back on pretty much anybody out there, but we can also get handled by a lot of teams. So
I was gonna maybe talk about this a little later. Let's just talk about it now because like Romo said, he's like, this Vikings team can do damage in the playoffs, but until they get certain things figured out, it's like teams aren't gonna fear them, and it's always gonna be the conversation: are they legit? Are they not? Because like they have the talent, but it's not always consistent, and this happens to them too much. Which I want to talk about Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. Last week, I thought Mark Schlereth was terrible. This might be even worse. They were all over the Packers start to finish. Everything they did, it was awful. It's just unprofessional. That's so bad. You can't be that one side. I mean, I get it. We didn't do much to inspire any talk, but like,
right.
It's unacceptable. That was some of the worst commentating I'd ever. Like Jim Nantz, I respect Jim Nantz, like one of a legend of broadcasting for sure. Romo is pretty solid what he does too,
For the
but
most part.
Brutal.
It's annoying. It's
absolutely
annoying.
Awful.
Yeah. It's annoying, man.
Aaron Rodgers, 15 to 24, 159 and a touchdown. Like,
yeah,
that's it's not godlike numbers. Or Aaron Rodgers.
This definitely was like one of the most. This is an ass beating by the Packers that had nothing to do with Rodgers, which is
special teams
kind of different.
Was huge.
Yeah, it was just it's even like all of our losses, man. A lot of them, like even the like, well, the beginning of the Colts game. What I think the Dallas game. Yeah, the Dallas game. We had a strip sack right away, right?
Yeah.
I believe
Something
so.
like
It's
yep,
just
yep, yep.
it's just that we have like all these. This one was a weird one because it was like a kick return, like we
Yeah.
blocked the punt.
And after that, like
Momentum. We
that's
got our momentum got stopped at the goal line, and then kick return, boom, weird. And then the next the pick six was on 4th down, right?
Yep,
I
4th and
forgot what
2.
it hit someone's hands, right? It hit off of Hawkinson, I
Mhm.
believe, and
Yep.
then interception, touchdown, like just kind of weird
Right. And
ways
then
for them
obviously
to
there
get
is the one
scores.
where Jefferson slipped,
Slipped. Yep.
and
And it was
another one that
also
was
a
batted up in the air, and
batted up in the air and he slipped. Like that is just so shitty timing.
yep.
Obviously, like I'm not making excuses, but it's shitty that it had to have like all these little things is how we crashed in this game.
Yeah. And
Which is just brutal, man.
right, and then 3rd quarter, stop them. We come out, make a drive, and we get down there, and then that's when Kirk has the fumble. It's just one of those things where, and as you said, like every one of these losses, they all feel the same.
Just
Like because I tweeted it out. I said if this is a 2-score game in the 4th quarter, I feel like we have a shot. But there was no chance it was ever going to get there because it felt like Philadelphia, it felt like Dallas, it felt like Detroit, even.
Yeah.
Just one of those things where you're just like, it's just nothing's working, nothing's happening for us, and everything is just going the exact opposite direction you need it to.
Right.
And
It's
that was
especially I was gonna say, especially our team where we like have this feeling we can come back, and then there's just times where like as soon as you think maybe, because there's at least 2 times that we've went into the red zone, and then just to turn the ball over or something like that. And specifically in the 3rd quarter when we got that strip, it was like our best drive probably, and then it was the strip sack or whatever. And then they fumbled recovery. That was like when that happened, I was like, all right, like this is just this isn't gonna happen. This isn't our game. It's over. Obviously the Chris Reed stuff was fucking so annoying. Like it's so crazy just to think like you got this 3rd string center, he comes in, and how big of the issues actually is having someone who doesn't, I guess I don't really know what happens. You just don't know the count well enough. You know how this offense works exactly. I don't really know how it works, but it was obviously very evident that he was not on the same page with Kirk Cousins and the rest of the offense. Like how many times you see Kirk Cousins like doing this thing and then false start or delay a game. So
but definitely just one of those games where you just I don't know. After the 3rd quarter, once that fumble happened, it was the thought
like
process of it's over. Like it's not
right. Because we push a lot.
Just kind of chucks up the desperation ball just to try to get something going, throws the other interception there.
Yeah.
And this team, it really does this team goes as Justin Jefferson goes. It really does. He couldn't get going today. They locked him down. They did what they said they were going to do. They took him away. And at that point with Thielen, not really being the guy he used to be, KJ being inconsistent, and then obviously Hawkinson, not being able to catch the ball early on, which led to some issues. It's just, you can never find any traction. The best receiver today, Jalen Naylor, 3 for 89.
Right.
That was obviously
first touchdown of his
the game
career,
was
I
out
believe,
of hand.
right?
And what's that?
First touchdown of his career, probably, right?
Yeah. Yes,
so congrats to him on that, I guess. But obviously, it was a little bit bittersweet moment for him as well.
Right.
But that's the thing with Justin Jefferson is like, I wish if this is the case, if they're covering him really well, like just do something to get the ball in his hands. Like I know he can do cross routes and you can get to him short. Like we see it all year long. Like I didn't see that at all that entire game. Even little end arounds to him, just anything you can do to get the ball in his hands. Like he's such a dangerous weapon. You have to use him somehow.
Right.
And I think the game plan with him, it didn't feel like we changed something to the game plan to get the ball in his hands, which was pretty annoying. But
I mean, as we kind of talked about though, it's like this game just had that feeling when we block the punt, get the ball on the 1, throw the ball on 1st down, run the ball behind the 3rd string center on 2nd down, and then do nothing on 3rd down, and then
you're 3rd down pretty much
forced to kick the field like right there. Then after the return touchdown, it just felt like this. You're just it's just a bad omen. It's just this game just isn't. It's not. There was no traction in the running game. We ended up over 100 yards total, but a lot of that was garbage yards. Delvin 9 carries, 27 yards. It was just I don't know. It's one of those days. One of those really frustrating games,
dude. One of those games that we've seen this year. So
nothing was going right. And, after an afternoon where the Eagles had lost, so there was an outside chance at the 1 seed still possibly. Obviously that's out the window now. Um, you come out in this game against a division rival on the road with a lot to play for. And the seeding thing I think is really important. So let's kind of talk about that type of stuff.
Okay.
Because obviously the game is what it was. The Packers, they demolished us. 41-17. There's not much more you can say about that. But now we drop down to the 3 seed. Who does San Francisco have next week? Do you know?
Let's look it up.
Because this could get, let's see. San Francisco has the Cardinals next week. So let's chalk that up to what it is. That's going to be a win. So as of right now, the Vikings are basically locked into that 3 seed, which sucks because if we do get past the first round, then we got to go to San Francisco and to Philadelphia in order to get to the Super Bowl. Obviously, it's unfortunate holding on to the number 2 seed all season long. Just now near the end of the season to have a dud of a performance and give that up
to the Packers.
But
that's the worst part.
If we want to look at the bright side of things really quickly,
I'm down.
That the Packers round 1 are going to have to go to San Francisco, and they can never win in San Francisco. So it'll be a quick exit for the Green Bay Packers, even though the media, Tony Romo and all those guys want to talk about make it sound like they're the next greatest thing. So we got that going for us at the very least. They'll go into San Francisco and get decimated. We probably will as well. We'll most likely be playing the Giants then at home, which is, we've beaten them here before. I don't like having to beat a team outside of your division more than once. I feel like that's a tough draw, but and obviously they had their best offensive performance of the day over there. Daniel Jones had a good game today. I think they put up 38 points on Indianapolis. So, it's going to be a tough game against the Giants, but it's just, I don't know. It's a kick in the nuts. You get one home game instead of the 2. And I think it's not being talked about enough. So now you wonder, what do you do next week? Obviously with the 1 catch, 15-yard performance from JJ today, he could still get Kelvin Johnson's record. I think 2,000. He would need 220 some yards, 229
yards. He needs almost 200 yards just to beat Kelvin Johnson.
Yeah.
He needs 205 or something.
Right. So at this point, do you just go into next week
just
against
feed
the Bears
his ass, feed him 300 yards, JJ, break or 2 records at once?
Well, we saw what happened today. 2 injuries on the offensive line. Or do you just go into it without and bench the starters and rest them and get ready for playoffs?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's unfortunate.
It's hard.
I had 13-4 as my record prediction. I think our backups could still beat the Bears. They look pretty bad out there today.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's now that's the next decision for Kevin O'Connell. Do you try after this performance? Do you put your guys out there one more time, just in hopes that you want to see something good out of them? Do you give them the first half maybe, and then put the backups in there after? It'll be interesting to see what approach Kevin O'Connell takes. And that's another disappointing thing when it comes to the coach. It's unfortunate that the team wasn't ready to play. On the road, you could end a division rival's playoff hopes. You were thinking you probably
a lot of mistakes, man.
You might have had to see them in the first round of playoffs. Now it's not looking like that, at least. I don't know. I just felt like this team came out. At first I thought after the block punt, I thought maybe they were ready to go, but it just didn't feel like. I don't know, man. It's just one of those games where just nothing.
It took me a while to be like, all right, I don't think we're coming back. That's just the year it's been. It's either we come back on a team, we allow them to score points, we come back at them, or which is the majority, or we let this team absolutely destroy us like we have 4 times this year. But the positive thing though is, we are going to playoffs. We just cannot play like that. It's obviously you can't play like that at all. You get 1 chance in playoffs. You cannot have a game like that.
Right. And I just want to interject here because I was looking at some of the stats and I saw the Kazon Nixon 105-yard kick return.
Yep.
Obviously, why don't we just get that ball through the back of the end zone? I've never understood why.
That's a good question.
And who knows? Maybe he, cold with the wind, whatever the conditions were.
I don't know. He was doing that. I don't know if he was doing that. Did you see that in the last couple weeks? I don't know if I did. I don't remember, but there was definitely that stretch where he was never getting it.
Maybe it is something with him being outdoors. But I saw a lot of people on Twitter. Do we need to have the conversation about him again? No, we don't have to have the conversation about Greg Joseph. He had a bad game, yes, but who had a good game? That's the question I ask. If Justin Jefferson has a bad game, we already talking like he's not that guy. Maybe he's not the best receiver in Vikings history that people are already talking him up to be. No, it's a bad game. Yes, Greg Joseph has had his issues making kicks, but with I don't want to over exaggerate because he's been clutch the last 5 weeks. This was just a game where nothing on all 3 phases. I mean, at some
The
points it
defense
was okay,
wasn't too bad, but it was
but
just they were just set up for fucking failure.
right.
So
But nothing seemed to work.
yeah,
Nothing worked. Paul, it
what's
seems
going
that way.
on, Paul?
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
hopping
joining
in.
us, even though we had a rough win here. So
Yeah. But yeah,
or rough loss.
it's sounding like it's going to be the Giants. Obviously, like I said, unless a miracle happens and the Cardinals find a way to take care of the Niners next week, we're probably locked into that 3 seed. So
It's all right.
it's gonna be tough, man, going into San Francisco to play a playoff game.
I'm not
If we
worried
get
about
past
that.
the Giants in the first round.
You got to. It's like no matter what, like we're in playoffs. You're gonna play hard teams. It doesn't matter. You just got to go in and win. I mean, if you want to go play in a Super Bowl, you're gonna play one of, if not the best team in the NFL. So I'm not worried about who we play. It's just we need to not be the team that we see today. We do not the team that we see in the Lions, Dallas, and Eagles. We need this other team that we've been seeing that's been able to, have this heart and this drive to come back on teams. And that's what we need to do. And that's what we need to do going into playoffs. This is a shitty loss to the Packers. But at the end of the day, we're still, the division winner, and we are going to playoffs. And we do have that talent to go far in playoffs. We just have to. We can't just shoot ourselves in the foot like we have today and in these other games. And that's something that we have to figure out. And I mean, hopefully so something like a playoffs can light the fire under the asses of players. And hopefully that's what we see of us going into this playoffs. That's where we'll really see what our players are made of and how much heart they actually have. Because it's cool to have comeback victories and stuff in the regular season, but obviously they also should know they can get their ass whooped too. So they need to hopefully fix all that and go into playoffs ready to take out these teams.
I mean, again, 12-4. Don't need to hit the panic button. There's the issues we saw today, we've known all season long that these can pop up. We've seen it multiple times, as we already talked about. Like, we knew this team we knew this team could play like this. Our question was, how will they? Because this team just seems destined for those really close games. The last couple of years, we've seen that, especially last season. And that was the big question. It's like, how will the new coaching staff come in and help us in those games? What will they do? And all Kevin O'Connell has done is came in and brought a new attitude to this team to where we're winning those 1-score games instead of losing them. Right. And that's absolutely huge. So and that's exactly, you can't hit the panic button yet. Just the understanding that we're 12-4 and this team has surprised me in a lot of ways. I'm happy to see that we're, winning those 1-score games. It's just, it sucks seeing these blowouts, but it happened in the Zimmer era too. It's just this team, and there's a lot of the same players holding over, which is maybe there's still some of that attitude left on the team as well. Right. To where there was like 1 or 2 games a year. It's like you could, set your clock to it. It's going to happen where we just have a complete no-show. And unfortunately, it's been every loss we've had. Our wins haven't been super pretty, but they've been fun. The Green Bay win week 1 was the only one that looked good. So, just it's the ebbs and flows of this team, and they're still going into the playoffs. They're still division champs. It sucks that we have to have this conversation after a game against the Packers. That's just, it was just,
I did not want that.
No, I mean,
convinced
it's honestly, and that's why I'm going to say it again, because I've already said it a couple times in this video. It was just an absolute disaster scenario day. And this is what happens. This is what happens when you're not super consistent and you can't blow teams out, is that it's either going to be close or this is going to happen.
Yeah. For Chicago though, I don't know. I guess we probably should rest our players. I think we're locked in this number 3 seed, right?
I mean, basically,
Casey, pretty much. So we're pretty much locked in that number 3 seed. I want Justin Jefferson to break that record. Is not looking great now. He would have to have almost 200 yards next week, which is definitely possible, but I don't know if that's worth injuries, especially now with how our offensive line looks.
Right.
We're what is it?
Schlottman's done.
Schlottman's done. Hopefully we get Bradbury back. Probably should give him another week for sure. Definitely not play him. And then it sounds like we've got lucky on O'Neill's.
Well, he's got to have an MRI to see what it's a calf muscle-ish injury. So Kevin O'Connell said he's going to have an MRI to determine the severity, but hopefully I still wouldn't play him next week.
No.
So I mean, at that point, do you want to put Kirk Cousins behind that offensive line?
Probably not. You probably, I mean, maybe a couple drives, whatever. I don't really know.
Right. And just especially after a loss like this,
you need
I
to
think
have
it's going
some
to be
sort of rhythm coming in.
right.
You do not want to have a bounce back going into. You don't want to end that with your starting unit and go into playoffs after.
So that's why I wonder if maybe he gives them a half or a quarter. Like, go out, let's do some good things out there, then pull you guys off and try to get the win still, because I think our backups can still take care of Chicago.
Yeah.
Especially with who knows how Justin Fields is going to be next week. If they decide to just give him the week off as well, I don't, who really knows. But
doubt it. But just stop. All you have to do against them is stop the run. Just stop the run. He's thrown for he has less than 50 completions on the year or something. So, but yeah, man,
there's really not much more to say about this one. It's just again an absolute disastrous, disastrous day. Going through the way the game started, the blowout the way the game started, you had a feeling it was going to be a blowout loss. The blowout loss happens. The injuries, players slipping on the field, Justin Jefferson not getting involved, the turnovers, which is what the Packers have lived off of the last few weeks. Nothing worked. It's one of those games like we've had in all of our losses where just nothing worked and you just had a bad feeling from start to finish. Obviously, as we've already mentioned, with the Niners moving on up into the 2 seed, we're locked in, or we're kind of down to the 3 seed now, especially after the Eagles lost earlier. So just all around a disastrous, not so good day for our Minnesota Vikings.
Anytime you lose to the Packers, that's just going to be how.
And that's another thing too. You lose the Packers, and now you give the media something to talk about for the next week.
The media thing is going to be annoying. So pretty much after this, that's why this is going to be short and sweet. Just move on for this. I'm going to kind of avoid the media, the bullshit, and hopefully we go into playoffs just not like that team. We do kind of find stretches. We've had stretches this year where we didn't allow, specifically the one between the Eagles and the Cowboys, where we had multiple games, at least more than 4 games in a row, where we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot. And that's just what we need to happen in playoffs.
Yeah.
We have to have multiple games where we don't get annihilated. And then I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, that's another thing. This Vikings team went on a 7-game winning streak after starting 1-1.
Right.
They can do it. They can play good ball. It's the consistency that we haven't seen all year that, I don't know, coming off a game like this, the whole season, not seeing the consistency we wanted to see. It doesn't give you the greatest feeling going into the playoffs, but Kevin O'Connell, except for a couple times this season, this team will fight, and this team believes in themselves at the very least.
Right.
And we have a ton of talent. Justin Jefferson is still Justin Jefferson even after a game like this. He had a bad game week 2 and week 3. But what did he do? He came out and he put up one of the greatest receiving seasons ever. So
yeah. I mean, I feel confident
left in the tank. Kirk Cousins has been clutch all year. This game, you can't really blame on him. At the end of the game, he's just chucking the ball, trying to make something happen. It's just, he's got to chalk it up to a bad football game. They happen. These bad days happen, but it just sucks it's happening this late.
Well, we've beat the Lions, we've beat the Packers this year. We know we can beat them. I feel confident that we can beat any team in the NFL. I think we beat the Bills the way we beat them. So I do think we have that ability to do that. So going into the playoffs, I think we can go in there and just hope that happens. But we just can't shoot ourselves in the foot just like we did in these games. I don't know. We do have stuff to figure out, but this is a cool thing about. That's a good thing about football, though, is
any given Sunday, as they
any
say.
given Sunday, you can short-term memory, go move on to the next week, and teams have done that all the time, and hopefully that the Vikings are one of those teams that do it this year. We can just bounce back and
we've responded
have a really strong playoff.
Too. Yeah, we've responded well to losses. It's just curious. The biggest thing now is I'm just curious to see what the mindset's going to be next week. Right. What they're going to do. So,
yeah.
Anything else you got?
That is it. Paul, are you in here? Who's in here? I'm going to run this giveaway. After a Packers loss, we're not going to get a ton of people in here. I know that, but I'm still going to give it away to someone. I don't care if it's one person.
It's in the spirit of what the Vikings did today with giving the ball away. We're going to just give the card away.
We're just going to give this card away. So I'm going to put up the giveaway thing. Let me get that ready. Even if we have a bad loss against a team like the fucking Packers, which is the worst, At least someone will win a Justin Jefferson rookie card at the end of all this.
We'll get some good vibes flowing through here.
Let's do it. Going into playoffs, and we're going to be keeping these coming. So, all right. So just like before, whoever's been in here and has done this before, let me put this up. Share my screen. So Paul, you have a chance to win this 3 weeks in a row. Let me get this. All right, here we go. So hashtag skol to enter in this. Put it in the comments to enter this giveaway. Throw them in. Giving away this Justin Jefferson rookie card. All you have to do is put hashtag skol in the chat. Hashtag skol in the chat.
Even after a 1 catch for 15-yard performance, Justin Jefferson cards are still cool. So
got one. Come on. Let's get 2 in here. We'll get 2 in here. Otherwise, it's going to Paul again. We'll give it to, how long have we been live for? We'll give it to 29 minutes. We'll give it to 29.
So another minute. All right. So just to fill in the time with that, like, I don't know. I'm curious to see what the seeding is going to look like. I mean, because the 1 seed isn't actually decided yet. Because Dallas could still win that division, or San Francisco potentially. I believe. No,
I'd rather see.
They might have with conference record and stuff. They might end up being in it. So that'd be kind of interesting.
It's going to be yours, Paul. It's going to be yours. If anyone was going to get 3 times in a row, I'm glad it's you.
All right, I would say you probably just call it and give it to him then, huh?
I'm running it still. We'll just have fun with it. Does that even work? All right, I'm running against myself. You'll get it no matter what. I just want to see if you win it. GG Sports Podcast. No. All right, Paul. Paul, you got your 3rd Justin Jefferson rookie card. You're going to have one hell of a collection by the end of our season here. But yeah, again, obviously we know your mailing address. We appreciate you hopping on our show, though.
Exactly.
100%. So you deserve this.
That's what you get for being a regular on the channel.
And the Twitter, man. And the Twitter. We see you popping in there. We appreciate it big time, man. 100%.
For sure. Just wish we all could be in a better mood right now. But
yeah, that's a hard thing. It's always, we knew coming into this stream, it's like after a loss to the Packers, I actually give you some props for coming in here and talking, like hearing us talk about it and stuff, because
it's therapeutic. Like it's therapeutic, like
therapeutic. Talk about it, move on. Boom,
yep, exactly. That's why we were talking about maybe pushing this to tomorrow. I just wanted to get it out of the way now. Just be done with it. Talk about it, get all the bad feelings out there, and move on. Because
move on.
That's what this game was.
We're a better team than the Packers. I don't care what anyone says. We are the better team. There was some weird shit that happened. Some slipping interceptions, the kick return, just all that weird shit. I'm gonna chalk it off as weird shit, and it's not gonna happen in playoffs. And we still have that Super Bowl hopes, 100%.
I hope Kevin O'Connell has the same thing too. It's like this toss this game out. It just wasn't.
They've done it before. They've been able to do it before.
Yep, on all levels, not a good game.
But playoffs, you don't get that. You don't get another shot.
No, you don't.
You get one chance. So make it worth it, man.
For sure. But anyway, I think that'll do it for this one. Vikings lose 41-17 in Green Bay, and just a disastrous football game and a disastrous day in the standings. And it is what it is, man. Like, you can't do anything about it now. You just move on, and that's what we're gonna do. We'll be back Wednesday with Dave, Minnesota Sports Talk,
and then we have
on the Skol Experience.
And who does our guest this week? It's Sal.
Yeah, Sally. I think that's her name. Yeah.
Sally.
Yeah.
She's pretty popular on Twitter. She'll be the first time on our show, so that would be really cool. She is last week we had Shelby tweeting on. They're going for Viking Queen, right, for Twitter or whatever. And then I think the following week we have Dustin Baker on. I believe, right? That's what it sounds like. So that would be a good one too. Who is the one that created that? So go vote for all of that. Anybody who's watching.
Yeah, we'll see you guys Wednesday, and then obviously when we get some more news about what they're going to do with the players, we'll look forward to that Chicago Bears game and talk about that on Friday. So
Yep.
That'll do it for us. Thanks everybody for joining, and have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, tough day, but like always, go Vikes.